what is now cool is local and small. And is there a story behind it? There's no story behind Red Bull. Like, it's a cool brand, but there's no story behind it. What people now want is a story. What's the story behind the brand? So the market came towards football special as well. It's not wasn't some necessarily, wasn't a genius strategy I had. People want things that have a bit of a story around them now. So, and again, like I said earlier, we have a story around us.
Yeah.
We're not making this up. So it's about doing that, but also being cognizant that, like, it is a soft drink. It's still just a treat product. It still can be sold anywhere. So, one of the other big pivotal moments then is getting in with Lidl, and because that gives us, like, Lidl can put us into 229 stores all over the island, and that means that people can go to their local Lidl and pick up football special, and that accelerates my growth obviously a lot, because they're ordering for 229 stores. So that can be game changing for the brand.
Yeah, and I suppose when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about parents seeing a drink called Football Special, buying it for their kids, going home playing football, and it just trickles through.
Yeah, and what is great is when people pick up the product, and people so I'll get teenagers being nostalgic for football special. Like, I'll get people who've never had football special being nostalgic for football special. It's the taste, the taste and the style of the product, and all our drinks evoke a sense of time and place, a happy time and place. And the beauty of being in Donegal is, if you've only had football special on your holidays or in the Gaeltacht, you'll have had a good time when you've had football special. So if we were based in, a worser part of the country, that wouldn't be true. But because people love Donegal, so that is where we're able to, build on.
Yes. You're not just in soft drinks too. You expanded into ice cream.
Yep.
When was that?
We probably by 2018 we've done the first ice cream. So we're always, we're in ice cream. Yeah.
Was that something that was just planned, or was it just, let's just try it?
My dad was always messing around. Like, as a child, I remember him with an ice cream maker at home making football special flavor ice cream.
No way.
We were always messing around with it. And because it is, like we said, it's a unique flavor. So the flavor will work in anything, be it, people who use it, on ribs. Like, there's restaurants who are doing football special flavor ribs.
I feel like I've seen that, or maybe you said it to me previously.
Yeah,
I feel like I've heard of it anyway.
Yeah. So
who is that?
Well, the Sunny Olive and Dairy were doing it. They were the first.
The Sunny
probably to do
Olive.
it. It's so the flavor can do other things. So ice cream then kind of came natural to that. But ice cream, that was a great journey. Because again, it's what an enjoyable experience trying to develop an ice cream flavor. Once like, that was enjoyable.
Yes.
And that was cool. Like, the ice cream comes and goes. I would say we have tried a lot of things with the brand to try and give us growth. And so even last week we just did the football jerseys, which were a big hit. You're trying to put.
Tell me more.
So we designed two styles of retro football jerseys, and we approached O'Reilly's Sports to say, can you manufacture
I think I've
these?
seen them.
So they were fantastic. So they sold out in a couple of days there last week. Again, the brand has a story about it. So it's about, where do we put that story? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a soft drink. It can be ice cream. It can be you buying some merchandise of mine.
Yes.
Because again, like, I'm also aware too, as my age now, like, people do age out of football special, and consumption of sweet and soft drinks are down. So, the business in 50 years mightn't look like it looks like now. It might be that we're a brand of something else, whatever. But it's about, and that's okay. Once the fundamentals of, like, that we're this Donegal brand that's based in Donegal, that's rooted in the environment of here. That can become a jersey then. That can become whatever it is that fits them, that ethos, I guess.
Yeah, and like, obviously, because you're a unique flavor, it's made your business unique in a way that has given you your own space in time that hasn't really been challenged.
Correct. I mean, there's the two reasons that we're still around. Is the first reason is because we're based in Donegal, right? So it's the Donegal's independent spirit. That's why we're still here. So people here are loyal to us, and it's not just. Obviously, the people who pick us off the shelf are loyal to us. They want to buy the product. But it's the people who own the shops and own the restaurants who have continued to stock football special. When there's a lot of outside noise to stop them doing that. You'll walk into anywhere you see, like, a Coca-Cola fridge. Coca-Cola will tell you, don't put football special in that fridge, just put Coca-Cola in there. And they'll put a lot of pressure on you to say no to that. So only for the independentness of Donegal people who've said, no, I'm going to stock. I'm going to, you can give me your fridge and I'll put a lot of Coke in there, but I'll put some football special as well, we wouldn't be still around. So that, and then couple that with it's a unique flavor, so nobody else can do it. Nobody else can copy it because it's not just, we're not just another orange. Like, we're a unique flavor. So they're so yeah, you're 100% right. The flavor has been key to everything we've done.
Yeah, but and then I'm thinking about the expansion of ice cream now. Jerseys, like, it's that uniqueness that can go into everything, like,
Yeah.
which is really interesting, because it gives you longevity in business, like, is it easy running? Why
Sorry
not?
to cut you off. No, it's very tough.
What's tough?
We are competing against absolute giants in our field. I mean, listen, if we did a vox pop in the street and asked people to name 5 brands off the top of your head, Coca-Cola would be one they'd say, and Pepsi might be too far behind, and Lucozade would be pretty close up there as well. So I'm only competing against other massive companies who have huge budgets, who can manipulate the market to whoever they see fit. So it's very challenging. And we and our growth story is fantastic and brilliant, but it's also necessary. We won't still be around in 4 generations at the size we are now. So for us to still be around 4 more generations, we're going to have to become bigger. We're going to have to be, I'd say our tagline is world famous in Donegal, but we want it to become world famous from Donegal. Mm-hmm. That's how we want, so we want it to be that you're, all over the island, you're, or really all over the world, and you're consuming our product. And that is a necessity for us, because it's only with us being bigger that we can then properly defend ourselves against the bigger guys. So, but it's difficult. Where I'm lucky is that I've got a really great team. We've got 5 people working in the business. Everybody who's worked there, we had 1 person start 2 years ago, but most people are there for a long time. So, one of our guys is there for 35 years. The staff don't really leave when they get into football special, which I'm incredibly proud of, that obviously we foster a good environment to work. But because they don't leave, they take it just as seriously as I take it. So it's easy to go into work because, I can trust all of the people I work with to do the right thing at all times. So that makes it easy. So it's the job is hard more than the work is hard. If that makes sense.
Yes. And I suppose then, how do you ensure that you're always showing up, in them hard moments, them hard days?
Well, it is about perseverance and, trying to do things with a smile on my face, I guess. You're just about trying to, you got to be just confident in the brand. You got to have serious belief. Like, I have a serious belief in football special, that it's not phony. I haven't just came up with this idea. Like, the idea has been proven obviously through 3 generations before me, but I love football special. I love all our drinks and our ice creams and our jerseys. So if I can convey that passion to the retailers, and then to the people to try us, then we've got a chance to succeed. So it's about, believing and then building that belief on a bedrock of good values, so you're doing the right thing. Again, we're only around through 4 generations, the same thing, because we've been good people all the way along. I don't have much memory of my grandfather, but he must have been a good dude, or we still, we wouldn't have had these people with these good stories of football special. People wouldn't have worked for us for years if we didn't treat people the right way. So that gives you a grounding then that you can build upon. So it's not about cutting corners and, cutting costs for the sake of it. It's about, can you be confident in something, build it on the values of your business, and then take it to the world? It may still fail, but at least it will fail with the best. You've tried your best as such, and it is also probably important to acknowledge failure. Like, as in, loads of stuff we've done in the past hasn't worked. Loads of my ideas have not worked. And that's okay too. It's like, all right, we tried it, we move on to something else, so I have a great belief in the brand, and in the product, but I also have a really great life outside of work. So and that's important,
And when you say outside of work,
well, I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm married to a great woman, and then we've 2 small kids now. So my wife Gillian has been a very big component of the business, because, and I don't just mean in a behind every great man sort of cliched line. I mean, she's done a lot of the marketing has come from her ideas and her background. But it is critical. The support that she has afforded me is what's allowed me then to go into work happy every day, because she's like, yeah, you got this. She's my biggest supporter. And that's pretty big. Like, that's I do think that that's sort of the biggest determining factor of whether you'll be a successful entrepreneur, I think, is the people you surround yourself with. And you won't surround yourself with anybody more important than your spouse. So she, again, it wasn't in her life vision to move to Ramelton. Like, when she grew up in Queens, she didn't think she could live in Ramelton. But I said, do you want to do it? It's not, she said, yeah. When I say, do you want to live in Ramelton? She says, yes. When I say, I'm going to try this business opportunity, she'll say, okay, no problem, go for it. But she's 100% behind every decision that I make. And vice versa. I'd like to think I'm 100% behind every decision she makes. But that means that there's no stress in the evenings outside of the normal stress. We have a 6-week-old, 7-week-old baby there. Like, so
Congratulations.
So the stress in the middle of the night is still real. We still fight over the normal stuff, but the big stuff is key. And the same thing. She's not saying like, get out, go get a proper job, and go and be a salesperson for Coca-Cola and we'll earn more money. Like, she's not saying that. She's like, do whatever makes you happy. Like, do. So that's a key component.
Yes. And the growth of the company over the decades, I assume that it's always grown. Has it always been that, or has there been times where it's been down?
No, there's been plenty of times it's been down, but I say no, there's been plenty of much harder times than now. Definitely the last crash was very difficult. But that was more to do, say, with the alcohol wholesale side of the business than it was the branded part of it. But no, there's been a lot more hard times. And again, we are very small. There's no two ways around it.
You could be very big to me, though.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
Well,
it depends how you're comparing yourself.
Well, yeah. But in compared to the other soft drink brands, we're not very small in Donegal. Like, and so if we could just replicate that by 32, we'd be not small. But we're always, when you're a small business, and I know I listened to the podcast you have with Laura from Muff as well. She would, I would think, have the same sentiment. Like, you're always a few months away from disaster. Like, and that's the thing. Whereas like Coke can bring a whole product out and it could be a complete flop and it doesn't matter because they have the runway, they have the cash to afford to do that. So we're not in that situation at the moment. Like, so we have to grow for necessities, but like, yeah, we need to grow so we can get to a scale that makes it more successful. And, I was at an Irish Drinks Forum yesterday. There's lots of really cool people doing like cool, mostly spirit, doing cool whiskey around the country. They're struggling at the moment with tariffs in America. But they're all saying the same thing. Like, Irish whiskey is such a small component yet. And if you strip Jameson out, it's tiny and they have to get to a certain scale. So if you want to be in the drinks business, you've got to be a certain size, and we're not quite at that size yet.